Welcome back to the Be the Hero channel. I'm Isabel and I help you understand the stars so that you can feel more clarity and control over your life. Today I have Jiraiya with me to talk about a very important event happening in the stars, which is a full moon in Aries, which peaks today at about 6 degrees of Aries at 3 a.m. Mountain Time. So in this video, I'm going to give you guys all the information you need to know about this event and why it's so important. And Jiraiya is going to bring some of his questions to help us understand this on a deeper level. Welcome back to the channel, Jiraiya.
It's good to be back. So we've had a while since we've got a video with me in there.
It's been a while since we've done a video, period. I'm pretty sure the last video I've published was with you.
Oh yeah, so I'm like a reoccurring comment now.
Yeah, he's just now part of the academy, and I've been taking a bit of a hiatus just because I haven't had the time to film as much, and I haven't been able to do the daily reports. Don't know if I'm going to come back to doing them, so if you want more content like that, book a reading in the link in the description below. Readings are really where we get to dive deep, understand your chart, understand the stars, and get any questions you have about astrology answered. So just book a reading in the link in the description below if you want to get more info than I've been providing on this channel. So before Jiraiya brings his questions in and his curiosity about the full moon, I'm going to give you guys a basic overview of what this full moon in Aries is and why it's important. So the full moon peaks in Aries on September 29th, and it occurs early in the morning, around 3 a.m. Mountain Time at 6 degrees of Aries. And this event alone, standalone as a full moon in Aries, this brings to light our relationship with our aggression and independence. Aries is the first sign of the Zodiac, and it represented by the warrior. This is the part of us that is a fighter, that learns how to be independent and isolate itself from others in order to find fulfillment, and it also can bring up some heavy wounds around aggression. We are all explosive during this time. We can find that we are feeling senses of pent-up anger, feeling like we don't know how to channel these feelings. So over the last 3 days, you've probably been feeling that you find it harder to navigate your emotions. You don't know how to channel them. We can't find a way to basically regulate. It feels harder to regulate our emotions during this time. It feels like we are basically triggered. And that is because of the full moon in Aries. And there's some very other important aspects that go along with this full moon, because not only is this a full moon in Aries, which is already bringing up aggression, but it is also opening us up for eclipse season. The North Node and Chiron are in Aries. The South Node is in Libra, which a full moon is where the moon and sun are opposite of each other. And this is highly connected to things that started during March when we had 2 new moons in Aries. So, Jiraiya, where do you want to start with those trains of thought? Which one do you want to jump on?
I'm going to start right away saying, don't anger your neighbor.
Don't anger your neighbor, especially if you are an Aquarius rising. You are more likely to find aggression with your community and your neighbors.
I can go? Okay. Will these affect Aries more than others, or is everything just going to be overall more aggressive?
Everyone is going to be aggressive, but specifically Aries is the spotlight for this full moon because everything is happening in the sign of Aries, and so Aries can feel like they're going through an extreme transformation, as well as Libra to some degree, but not as much as Aries. So yay, Aries, it's gonna be so fun. Hang in there. We're gonna do okay.
Okay, Aries is the first zodiac. Does that have any correlation? Like, is this where things will start right now?
Not so much. So, yes, Aries is the first sign of the Zodiac, but this is more so about self-initiation, especially if you're an Aries rising or Aries sun, because this is your first house of identity. All of us, so this connects back to the new moons. To clarify the difference, a new moon and a full moon always happen 2 weeks apart from each other. But we also have a new moon and a full moon in each zodiac sign throughout the year. So for example, we had not only 1 new moon in Aries in March, but 2 new moons in Aries in March. So that is already an irregularity, but it means that we had a lot of energy this March of 2023 around initiating something new that will help us be more independent and assert ourselves. This is about new beginnings around the Aries archetype for us all in different ways depending on your horoscope. If you are an Aries, this is about your self-identity. If you're a Libra, this is about your relationships with others, etc. We're not going to go into all the horoscopes right now, but these 2 new moons were helping us realize, oh, my relationship with my anger and my relationship with my independence is not at its ideal. And I noticed that I need to move towards it more. I need to start something new with this. So that was in March. We had new moons, which were new beginnings around the Aries archetype. Now, these new moons are connected to this full moon, because it's also in Aries. So this is now where we can kind of wrap up some of those themes that we started back in March, and yet at the same time, this opens up into a bigger theme, which is around the eclipses, we're entering eclipse season. The next moon will not be a Aries new moon or full moon or eclipse. It is going to be a Libra one. But this is still connected because these are the polarities. Does that make sense, or is that a lot of information?
It's a lot of information, but I think I got it. And if I don't, they got it, because they're smarter than me. Okay, I got a question though. Actually, 3-parter. One, does that mean I should be taking more initiative on the actions I want to do right now? Is action going to be easier to take in this full moon?
If anything, we want to refrain from taking too much action because we're feeling like we want to act off of impulse. New moons are generally times for setting new intentions, and full moons are times to receive. This is why the full moon is when the sun and moon are opposites. So the moon is fully brought to light. Our emotions are fully brought to light.
So our emotions are going to become aggressive right now.
Yes, and we're also not necessarily being called to act on things. We're more so being asked to observe because things are being brought to light and we're being called to look at them. We're supposed to look at our emotions, look at the changes that are happening, and then be open to receive.
So I'll have to be ready for some stuff that's going to happen soon then.
Yes, this is generally a time for us also to, in a way, release. Full moons are not only a time to receive things, but let things go. Yes, very much a softening. And the first 3 days before the full moon can feel tense, but the day of and the days after the full moon, which is today, you probably are going to feel more of that receiving, reaping the harvest, and allowing yourself to have these realizations that are going to benefit you.
What about life? Is life and the universe going to be really aggressive right now?
You mean like the world around you? Is it going to be aggressive?
The world, faith, like anything that's kind of a weird circumstance is going to happen where life just seems like it's like a more aggressive, more...
Potentially, it depends on how your life is a reflection of you. Everything that happens in your reality is because you perceive it that way. And, my nose all of a sudden got really itchy.
Aries full moon. You're going to have itchy noses.
And, so it could be triggering. I would say more so whatever happens in your physical reality is to reflect what is happening in your internal emotional environment.
The eclipses, how is something in the future affecting what's happening right now?
So every year we have eclipses in different zodiac signs. And eclipses are a very interesting astrological event, which is what makes this full moon so important. So normally we just have new moons and full moons throughout the year, but partway through the year, twice a year, we have eclipse season. And what this represents astrologically is like eclipses are like chapters in our hero's journey. So these can be massive culmination points where we move forward in the direction we need to go for our hero's journey. These can be defining moments. So for example, last year, we had eclipses in Taurus and in Scorpio. So for all of us generally, last year we had huge chapter marking points around April and November that helped us initiate something new with our self-worth and let go of codependency.
And whatever eclipses are, whatever signs in that eclipse, that's basically the genre your next chapter should take.
Yes, in a way that's the genre, that's what we're all focused on during this time in different ways because Aries is in different houses for us all. So for example, for me, my sun is in Aries and my rising is Sagittarius, but more so like Capricorn. The eclipses will happen for me in my first and fourth house, which means that these eclipses are going to mark a change for all of us. We're learning to be more independent in healthy ways and also learning how to channel our aggression, especially because the North Node is here, which is what we'll also talk about in a minute because that's also another important factor, is that the North Node is in Aries, and we're having eclipses in Aries, and this is a full moon in Aries, so we are generally doing things during this time that help us grow. And with these eclipses, they feel not so much like a manifestation point, but like a pausing point. We almost oftentimes feel like, did something happen? I'm confused, because it's mostly internal. So for me, with it being in my first and fourth house of home, first house of identity, this year for me is marked by a chapter in my life about changing my identity, changing how I perceive myself and how I show up in my family for the better, because this is related to the North Node.
Does the full moon have anything to do with why you're wearing a red shirt?
No.
Okay, what is this North Node thing? Does that have to do with the eclipse?
So, like I said, we have eclipse season, and we have the North Node and the South Node in Libra and in Aries. The South Node is in Aries, and the South Node is in Libra, the North Node is in Aries. They are not at similar degrees, but they are still in the same sign, which has effects.
This is a weird one, I just want to know this, but does your North Node and South Node depend on same, like your sun sign? Is it like if you're born in March to this, you have that North Node?
Not necessarily. So everyone has the North Node and South Node move every 18 months. So it's kind of general for people. So if anyone's born within the same 18-month section as you, then they will also have a North and South Node in Leo and in Aquarius.
Okay.
But the current North and South Node transits are what we need to grow towards next in our hero's journey. Very similar to the eclipses, they really affect our lifelong journey, our purpose here, and our learning journey. So the North Node moved into Aries, I think it was in June. I think it was June 17th, the same day as the Cancer new moon. I might be getting that wrong, but I'm pretty close, I'm pretty sure. The North Node is in Aries for us all, which means we're all, during this 18-month period, learning to grow towards healthier assertion, healing our aggression, and also growing towards more independence. And we are learning to heal our relationship with how we show up in friendship and how we show up diplomatically. This is the time for us to all work on saying no a little more assertively and yes to the things that matter, and even if that means going our own path.
So we got a lot of data right here. We got an Aries full moon. We had 2 Aries new moons, and this new eclipse is also in Aries. And we just stepped into North Node Aries season. So for the next 18 months, it's gonna be a little more aggressive, learning how to say no, learning how to say yes to certain things. And these are all in the moon. That means our emotions are gonna be super aggressive and very attacking.
Pretty much. So, in summary, what you guys really need to know about this event, because it's huge, is first and foremost, aggression is coming up during this time. Be patient. You set new intentions back in March, throughout March, around your relationship with aggression, your relationship with assertion, and also your relationship with your wounds, because Chiron is also in Aries. Chiron is the wounded healer. It represents things that are basically wounds for us all. With Chiron currently in Aries, we all have wounds we're needing to face around our independence and aggression as well. So extra healing energy, which can feel extra painful. But during March of this year, you're setting a lot of new intentions around independence, your relationship with aggression, your relationship with assertion, and maybe even childhood wounds around those things. Think back to March. What of those themes were you setting new intentions around? How were you trying to shift your intentions with that? And it might not be necessarily with your home or yourself. It could be in a different area of life depending on your zodiac sign. So we have that. We also have this Aries energy is very connected to our growth path for the next 18 months, which started back in June. How can you better embrace healthy assertion and independence for your growth? It may be uncomfortable, but what is the uncomfortable thing you're called to do during this time? How can you heal your relationship with seeking approval or seeking connection? Yes, it is good to want to connect. That is not a bad thing. And this does not mean we're forgoing the Libra archetype of connection. It means that we are healing the unhealthy traits around it. So how do you need to momentarily move towards independence and heal your relationship with friendship and with approval and connection during this time? And finally, we are entering the shadow period for eclipse season. This is not necessarily a time to manifest as we get into eclipse season. We want to see what's happening around us, but we are not in the eclipse yet. This is not a eclipse. One more time, this is not a eclipse. It is just a full moon, but it acts as a prologue or a prelude or a preface chapter to eclipse season.
Okay, so sometimes we gotta buckle up for this ride. I gotta get my head on straight. It's gonna be a very aggressive time. You gotta take a lot of action. You also gotta learn to say no. You gotta be very strong, or like a general, because Aries represents the god
Not
of war.
necessarily, because we don't want to be aggressive. This is healthy assertion from a place of love, where we say, sorry, but I cannot do that. Oftentimes, Aries, yes, because the god of war, we think of, we need to be extra aggressive during this time, but this is actually an opportunity for us to channel and be aware of our aggression and make sure we don't throw it onto people. So not necessarily an action-taking time, but a time to reflect on how we want to react.
So this is a really good time to start getting the stuff we want, our goals.
Yes, it's a time for us to start receiving. We don't need to
Okay.
necessarily act as much, we're observing.
Okay, and what will be the next North Node period to know?
What do you mean?
Because this is an Aries North Node period. What will be the next one to know what that means you're going to step into next time to start preparing for?
Well, we're going to have the North Node in Aries for the next 18 months, and the South Node will also be in Libra for the next 18 months. So we are in an 18-month journey of learning to embrace independence, heal our assertion, and also release any wounds or karma or unhealthy traits around seeking approval, as that's a Libra theme, or even seeking connection or friendship in unhealthy ways. So hopefully you guys feel like this video gave you a huge explanation on what is happening today as we have the full moon in Aries and what is to come our way as we enter eclipse season. This is a wonderful time for us all. It may be very emotionally charged because this is the Aries archetype, but good things are coming your way. So let us know in the comments below if you have any more questions or if you're feeling this energy. And while you're down there, I'm not here on this YouTube channel as much, but if you're looking to learn more about your stars, the stars currently, or how you can even find solutions to your struggles or manifest the things you want using your astrology, then book a reading in the link in the description below where we can dive into in 1 hour everything you need to know about your chart, what stands out about your chart, and how you can use it to find a fulfilling career, fulfilling relationship, or what you need simply to heal, which are all things we're all looking for. And if you're looking for those things, you can find out more by booking a reading in the link in the description below. Highly encourage these. Seriously, I'm not on this channel as much as I want to be. I can't show up here enough, but readings are something I always show up for. So book a reading, links in the description below. Once again, my name's Isabel.
My name's Jiraiya.
And from our hearts to yours, namaste.
Namaste.